Good morning to all of you students. Welcome to the physics class. In this session, we will study chapter number 5 of class 11th, and the name of the chapter is motion in a plane. So students, first of all, we will discuss here what are the important topics related to this chapter. In this chapter, we will discuss scalar and vector quantities, position and displacement vector, journal vectors, representation, equality of vectors, addition and subtraction of two vectors and more than two vectors, unit vector, resolution of a vector, scalar and vector product, and projectile motion and their properties. So these are the important topics which can be discussed here. Okay students. So one by one starts. First, scalar and vector quantities. So student, scalar quantities are those quantities which have magnitude only, means there is no requirement of direction. For example, mass, distance, time, speed, volume, density, pressure, work, energy are the examples of scalar quantities. Clear? Okay students. Now, vector quantities. Vector quantities are those quantities which have both magnitude and direction and they obey triangle law. That means vector rule. The example of subvector quantities are position, displacement, velocity, acceleration, force, momentum, impulse. Clear? Okay students. Now, journal vector and their notation means how can we represent a vector quantity. So generally vector quantities are represented by an arrow with head. So the head of a arrow represent its direction and the length of arrow represent the magnitude of that vector quantity. Now position and displacement vector. What is position and displacement vector? So from figure you can easily understand there are 2 points P and Q whose positions with respect to origin are R1 vector and R2 vector. So R1 and R2 vectors are known as position vector because they define the position of any physical quantity with respect to origin. Now, if we take OP and OQ, now differentiate between these two quantities, then we get PQ and PQ is equal to R2 minus R1. So it represents displacement vector. So displacement vector can be determined with the help of by the subtraction of two position vectors with respect to origin. Okay. Now zero vector or null vector. So if there are two vectors and two vectors A and B are equal, then the difference of these two vectors is said to be zero vector or null vector. It is generally represented by 0. Properties of zero vector. First property, the sum of a finite vector A with the zero vector is equal to the finite vector. That means if we add two vectors in which one is zero vector and other is any other vector, then we get the finite vector. Second thing is the multiplication of a zero vector by a finite number n is equal to zero vector. That means n into zero vector is equal to zero vector. Third one is the multiplication of a finite vector a by zero vector is equal to zero vector. Clear? Okay students. Now student, equality of vectors. Two vectors are said to be equal vector if their magnitude and direction both are exactly equal. Vector A is equal to vector V is equal to vector C because their magnitude and direction all are equal. Now, the next topic is addition of two vectors. If we want to add two vectors, then the tail of first vector should be added with the head of second vector. By doing such, we get a third vector which is a resultant of these two vectors and this is represented by generally capital R. So capital R is equal to capital A plus capital B, where capital A and capital B are two vectors and R is a resultant vector. Okay students, now student, we will discuss addition of more than two vectors. In order to add more than two vectors, first of all we have to add two vectors and the resultant of both two vectors considered as a new vector, and this process is continue until all the vectors are not add. So this is the simple process for adding more than two vectors. Okay. Now students, the next topic is analytical method of vector addition. Means we can add two vectors and find the resultant of these two vectors with the help of two methods, and these methods are known as analytical method. So first method is triangle law of vector addition. So it states that if two vectors are represented in the magnitude and direction by the two sides of a triangle taken in a order, then the third sides represent the magnitude of the two vectors. That means if we draw a triangle and these two sides are represented by two vectors, then the third side of that triangle will represent the resultant of these two vectors. Now you can see in the figure, A and B are two vectors which are inclined at angle alpha, and R is the resultant of these two vectors. We draw a perpendicular QE on OP line and OP extend to at point E. So first of all we will take triangle QEP and triangle QOP, and applying Pythagoras in these two triangles we get a required condition by putting the value of cos theta from triangle QEP. We get a required condition r square is equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta, and we can also find the value of r. It will be under root a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. So this is the formula by which we can determine the resultant of any two vectors which are inclined at angle theta. Clear? Okay. Now we can also calculate angle alpha, where alpha is the angle made between these two vectors. So it will be tan alpha is equal to b sin theta upon a plus b cos theta, where a and b are the vectors quantities. Okay student. Now the second method is parallelogram law of vector addition. With the help of this method we can also calculate the resultant of any two vectors. So it states that if two vectors are represented in magnitude and direction, then by the two adjacent sides of a parallelogram, then their resultant is represented in magnitude and direction by the diagonal of parallelogram. That means if two vectors are represented by the two sides of a parallelogram, then we can find the resultant of these two vectors with the help of the diagonal of the parallelogram. This is the law of parallelogram of vector addition. We use the same formula for calculating the resultant of these two vectors. R is equal to under root a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta, and tan alpha is equal to b sin theta upon a plus b cos theta, where alpha is the angle made between the resultant with any one vector. Okay. Now student, there are some conditions and some cases are take place here. First case, when two vectors are in the same direction. That means when two vectors are parallel. In this case, the resultant will be maximum. That means cos theta equals to 0, and in this case we get r is equal to a plus b. So we get the maximum value of resultant, and tan alpha will be 0 degree. Now When two vectors are at right angle, that means the angle between two vectors is 90 degree. In this case, cos theta becomes 90 degree and we get r is equal to under root a square plus b square. And in this case, tan alpha will be b upon a. Now, when two vectors are in the opposite direction, that means the angle between these two vectors is 180 degree. So in this case, cos 180 will be minus 1 and we get a minus b whole half square in under root. That means a minus b or b minus a. So in this case, we get the minimum value of resultant and tan alpha will be 0 degree or 180 degree. Okay students, now subtraction of two vectors. As addition, we add two vectors by joining them head and tail. In the same way, in order to find the subtraction of these two vectors, we doing the reverse process. The head of first vector will be added by the tail in downward direction of other vector, and in this case the resultant will be considered as a subtraction of these two vectors. Clear out? Okay. Now, multiplication of a vector by a scalar. If we multiply any scalar quantity with any vector quantity, then the resultant is also a vector quantity. This is the process by multiplication of a vector quantity by a scalar quantity. And the example of this process is linear momentum, because we know that linear momentum is represented by vector p and it will be equal to m into vector v, where m is a scalar mass is a scalar quantity and v is a velocity, so it is a vector quantity. Now, unit vector, a vector whose magnitude is unity, that means 1, is called unit vector, and this vector is generally used for the representing the direction. So, unit vector is represented by a cap is equal to vector a upon mod of a, where mod of a is the magnitude of vector and its value is 1. Orthogonal unit vectors. If we take a Cartesian system, that means x-axis, y-axis and z-axis, then the unit vectors which are used to represent the axes are called orthogonal unit vectors, and they are generally represented by I cap, j cap and k cap. Next topic is resolution of a vector quantity. We can means we can find the part of a vector quantity along the x-axis, y-axis and z-axis. In the case of 2D axis, if A is a vector quantity, then its resolution part will be AXI cap plus BAY j cap. It means that we can write here in such a way vector A is equal to AXI plus AYJ, where AX and AY are the magnitude of vector A along x-axis and y-axis, and I cap and j cap are the unit vectors along x-axis and y-axis. Here, now student, resolution of a vector in the three-dimensional. So in the case of three-dimensional, we use z-axis also. So in this case, vector A becomes A is equal to AX plus AY plus AZ, I cap, j cap, j cap, sorry, k cap. So this is the required form. Vector A is equal to AXI cap plus AYJ cap plus AZ k cap. And the magnitude in this case, mod of A is equal to under root AX square plus AY square plus AZ square. Now student, the next topic is multiplication of two vectors. We can multiply any two vector quantities by the two following ways. There are two methods. First is scalar product or dot product, and second one is vector product or cross product. So we will discuss here one by one. First method is scalar product or dot product. This product is represented by A dot B is equal to mod of A mod of B cos theta. So the scalar product of two vector quantities is defined as the scalar equal to the product of their magnitude and cosine of the angle between the two vectors. Clear? And it is represented by A dot B. Now, The example of this product is work done. Work done means W is equal to F into S. So it is the dot product of force and displacement. Now students, we will discuss here. The next topic is cross product. The next topic is vector product or cross product of two vector quantities. In the case of cross product, we use cross instead of dot, and we can solve such types of problem with the help of matrix or determinant method. Now students, the formula in this case will be vector vector C is the product of two vector A and vector B, and it is represented by vector C is equal to mod of A mod of B sine theta into n cap, where n cap is the unit vector which shows the direction of these two vectors perpendicular upward or downward direction. Now the example of vector product is moment of force tau is equal to vector R cross vector F. Another example is angular momentum. Angular momentum is represented by capital J vector, and it is equal to vector R cross vector P. Some properties of vector product is the vector product is not commutative. That means A cross B is not equals to B cross A, because in the case of vector product, sign means direction is required. That means it will be unequal. Now the second property is the vector product is distributive. In the multiplication, A cross vector A plus C will be equal to A cross B plus A cross C. That means it follows distributive law. The third one is the magnitude of the vector product of two vectors mutually at right angles is equal to the product of the magnitude of the vector. That means vector A cross B will be equal to AB sine theta into n cap. So we can write here mod of A cross B will be equal to AB. The next property is the vector product of two parallel vectors is a null vector. That means if two vectors are parallel, then their cross product will be equal to 0. The vector product of a vector by itself is a null vector. That means if we multiply the same two vectors by cross product, then their resultant will be 0. These are the important properties of a vector product. Okay, there are some important terms. If we multiply I into j in cross product, then we get k. In the same way, j cross k is equal to I, k cross I is equal to j. But the product of same two vector quantity is always 0. Now student, we will discuss here the most important topic is projectile motion. In the case of projectile motion, as you know that when we throw any object upward direction and the motion of that object is not a vertically upward and it moves on a path which is curved shape, then we can say that the motion of that particle is projectile motion, and the path traveled by that object is called trajectory or path of trajectory, and this path is parabolic. So student, this is the basic property of projectile motion. Now there is a question and there is a proving the path of projectile is always parabolic. So here we have to find the equation of parabola and prove it. So in the diagram you see that if we throw an object from point O with initial velocity ux, then the path of object is parabolic, and at the point P its velocity is v is equal to vx, and at the bottom point its velocity becomes 0. So we can put here ux is equal to u cos theta, and ux is the velocity of object along to x-axis. In the same way, uy is equal to u sine theta. We know that x is the distance, so distance equals to velocity into time. So x is the horizontal distance, that means horizontal velocity into time. So we find the value of t from this equation and put the value of t in the another equation, and the second equation is h is equal to ut minus half gt square, because in this case the motion is upward direction along the y-axis. So on putting the value of t, we get y is equal to u sine theta in bracket x upon u cos theta minus half g x upon u cos theta. So the required equation is here y is equal to tan theta into x minus half gx square upon u square cos square theta, and this is the equation of parabola in second degree. It means that we can say that the path of projectile is parabolic. Now student, we will discuss some terms. Flight time of projectile. So when we throw any object upward direction, then the time taken by that object in the space, that in the open space, is called time of projectile, and its value is t is equal to u sine theta upon g. So multiplied by 2, because the total time in upward and downward direction is considered as capital T, and capital T is equal to 2t. So 2u sine theta upon g. Now height of projectile. So the height covered by any object in upward direction is called height of projectile, and it is represented by h is equal to u square sine square theta upon 2g. And when the angle is 90 degree, in this case we get the maximum height. Now the third one is range of projectile. The horizontal distance covered by any object when it is projected in upward direction is known as range of projectile, and it is represented by r equals to ux into t. On putting the value of ux and capital T, we get r is equal to u square sine 2 theta upon small g. So these are the basic definitions related to projectile motion, and we also study in this lecture what is the vector product, and there are the two vector products, dot product and cross product, and these two products are very important for calculating numerical problems and for also competitive examination. So revise this chapter very well. Thank you very much.